Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. I am your host, Papa Gino, and I am joined here today by one of the guys that I met through No DQ and doing the No DQ review, Dave Sheffler. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Gino. Thanks for inviting me in.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is one of the Florida chapter members, like Matthew, who was on here in previous episodes. And we are actually going to the Backlash Premium Live event after WrestleMania because it is here in Tampa. So we are definitely looking forward to that. But more on that in a future episode. Today, I want to talk about how the masked man has seen his shadow, and that means we have 6 more weeks of winter until WrestleMania. So there's about 45 days right now, Dave, until WrestleMania. Now, one of the things that I've always wanted to talk about was the frequency of premium live events and or Saturday night's main events and the turnaround time between those events. I addressed it on a previous episode. You were one of my loyal viewers, so you've heard me talk about the fact that Royal Rumble was a week after Saturday night's main event. And now, instead of somehow having a week or 2 or 3 weeks between those events, now we have 6 whole weeks between the end of Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania Night One. To me, and I look forward to hearing your opinion, this is a little concerning. Monday night's Raw was one of the better shows in recent memory, according to a lot of people. I thought it was good. I don't know, if everything really was spectacular, but it's really tough to do that with a 3 hour show. But we're not here to necessarily talk about how good or bad Raw was. But if you thought it was good, can they keep up this momentum? I do expect SmackDown to follow suit and be a good show with the WWE Championship main event scheduled for this Friday. However, 6 weeks is a long time to build to an event, even as an event as glorious as WrestleMania, which is a 2 night event. My question to you, Dave, and I want to hear your thoughts, is that too long of an amount of time to build for an event, no matter how spectacular it is?
Great question. I think it is too long because we're normally used to seeing we talked about in the review with No DQ last night that usually you see WrestleMania in the beginning of April, end of March for years, and now we're getting towards the end of April. I think it's a little too far out. We talked about. I think you brought up a great point last night, saying hopefully they didn't blow their load with that Raw because the Raw was it was spectacular. It was one of the best Raws I've seen probably in over a year. Coming off a very mild event with the Elimination Chamber. The only thing is, I'm just worried about where you could go from uh, what we saw Monday because it was more like and I brought it up. It was more like the Attitude Era, especially the beginning of Raw, the way they kidnapped Paul Heyman after they took him out with LA Knight driving the van or the ambulance. It was reminiscent of that. Now, the thing is, Punk and Reigns have had two great promos back to back. They're a little about, 3 weeks apart, 3, 4 weeks apart. Um, Hopefully, they don't have to do promos every single week. I think we're going to need more than that to build this because I don't know how much further they're going to be able to go a little further with the personal angle, especially the way Punk left it the other night by saying, "I'm going to bury you with your father." That was the best, one of the best lines I've heard in years. And you could see by the look on Roman's face when Punk walked out of the ring, it's like, where are we going to go from here? Obviously, we'll get one of the you'll get pull apart brawls along the way, which hopefully they don't do too many of them. I wouldn't mind seeing a tag team match at one point because at least get them in the ring, especially with 6 weeks to go, instead of just talking because it can't continue to just keep talking. You're going to have to do something to move this forward. But I'm right along with you on the time frame. Hopefully, it doesn't fizzle before we get to WrestleMania, because they're going to have to build other stories with it. Because obviously, Punk and Reigns is the main story here, but you got other things coming along with it. Hopefully, they could build some of the other matches the way they're building this, because you got to make that match night one main event too just as big as night two. Obviously, two's going to close it out, but you got to have a huge one closing out night one to go into night two. But I'm as concerned as you are, Gino. I appreciate you asking me.
Very well said, Dave. I thought you raised a lot of great points in your discussion there. Now, the concern that I brought up last night, which was on the No DQ review, guys, go check out nodq.com, No DQ YouTube channel, Aaron Riff. Shout out to them. Don't forget to subscribe. You catch us every Tuesday there. Now, I'm not sure whether this video is going to be up Wednesday night or Thursday night, but when we refer to last night, we're talking about Tuesday of this week for the review every Tuesday. Now, to address some of those concerns, now, to me, as you were talking, it became glaringly obvious that WWE announced Brock Lesnar's future appearances between now and WrestleMania, and I think that that was done because Roman Reigns will not be present with us. I think, in fact, that WWE did blow their load early with what we saw last Monday night because Roman isn't going to be around for the build to WrestleMania. It doesn't make sense why he wouldn't. It is kind of outrageous that he barely attends a show, and when he does, he's on air for 10 minutes and then we don't see him for weeks, whether he's written off of television or whether he just doesn't show up. Doesn't matter. I think CM Punk hit him with that buried shot, and and he definitely didn't need to bring his father into it. He could have used buried in the wrestling term, and it would have been just as fine. But he did, and so I fully expect maybe the Usos to have some words for CM Punk. But Roman Reigns, I do not think we will see much of him on the road to WrestleMania, which is, I hope I'm wrong, but we need look nowhere else than last year. John Cena had what, three, maybe two appearances in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania? Something like that. It wasn't a 6 week gap, but it was a lot of Cody was there, Cena wasn't. They didn't even do via satellite. So I think that they are taking the wrong lessons from a lot of the stuff over the last year or two. Hopefully, they're taking some good lessons, like letting an actual star win the Royal Rumble, things like that. And the way we have 1.5, 1.25, 1.33 matches scheduled for WrestleMania, they have to fill out the rest of that card. So do I think they're going to be spending a lot of time on the stuff they already know people want to see? That's not how TKO does business from what I've seen. So I think we're getting Brock Lesnar to fill that content void from Roman being gone. I think CM Punk is going to be there. However, they've got a lot of work to do between now and then. So theoretically, having this big gap is good. However, you don't want to lose steam. You don't want to fizzle out the excitement. Yeah, maybe they'll have a tag team match. That could be good, or it could ruin the idea of them getting their hands on each other for the first time. For me, a pull apart brawl works for the live crowd, especially when they separate and then attack each other again. But I think a pull apart brawl, similar to how they did it in the Attitude Era, like you mentioned, just pull them apart and don't let them attack each other again. Make us want more. And there are all these types of concerns that I have. Oh, sorry, excuse me. We know a second confirmed match, which is between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Or not, it should be Raquel Rodriguez, but it's going to be Stephanie Vaquer. And so we have two and a third, two and a fourth, two and a half, depending on what happens with the WWE title match. Everything else is pretty much up in the air. So we will see what happens, but I just think this is a lot of time of three and a half, two and a half, 2 hour wrestling shows, 9 hours a week moving forward. And I am a little concerned. I really like how you address the fact that there was a spectacular Raw. And again, we might be getting a spectacular SmackDown. We'll see. But somebody mentioned it on Aaron's post show from Raw. I think it was Walter who said they're doing Attitude Era type stuff to promote the video games Attitude Era stuff. And again, to me, that's the wrong lesson. Though I enjoy it, I think that's the wrong lesson to take. You should be doing this year round. Not every show needs to be a banger, but this type of stuff shouldn't just be saved and stretched out. So, like, I addressed on a previous episode what type of matches I would want to see at WrestleMania. I know you saw that. I know you commented on that. But what are maybe two or three matches that you hope to see some build towards and would be excited to actually see a build towards for this coming WrestleMania?
Uh, they're going to have to do a lot with Rhea and Jade, I think, because I still think people are disappointed about Bianca because Bianca had such a great story there with everything that went on carrying into WrestleMania last year in the Chamber. So I hope they build on that. I think we'll get the build on the Monday night main event with or not the Monday night, the first night of the WrestleMania's main event this Friday, because I think this is going to open up exactly where we're going to go because no one knows where we're going to go right now with it at this point until that Cody and Drew match. And I hope they don't take the title off of Drew Friday. I really don't. I think that'd be the wrong move at this point. They got to have Drew in that main event. And we talked about that on the No DQ review too. Drew's got to be there. Randy's got to be there. But they got to figure out what they want to do otherwise. I think having Cody as the champion going into WrestleMania is the wrong way to go here. You got to have him chasing. You really do. So they'll get that build up. And then once they determine where EO is going, because I really think the money match, believe it or not, would have been EO and Rhea at WrestleMania because there's still a story to be told with Rhea never beating her. And they had such great matches last year, including each other. I really wish that's where they would have gone. But at this point, I hope they put Julia in a bigger spot and have EO and Julia and build that up because EO's got to be fighting for something. I don't think she should be going against AJ Lee. I think it should be against Julia because I think that would help Julia get to where she needs to go. But those are the matches I hope they build up to.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right, in my opinion anyway, with the Rhea and Jade. I do believe that there's also a better story to be told with Rhea and EO going one on one. The only problem is who do you have having the title going into that match? If you put the strap on EO again right before Mania, we did that last year. And honestly, there were a lot of people that weren't happy about it, but Rio, EO proved everybody wrong. When she got the strap put on her, it was like, that's kind of dumb. Triple H is very clearly just putting his favorite into this storyline. We wanted to see Rhea versus Bianca one on one. Nobody wanted to see Rio. And now Rhea, and now I keep saying Rio. Which, by the way, isn't that a women's name in AEW? So there any way WWE can take a shot at an
It is.
AEW thing, it's pretty crazy. But I mean, you either give it to Io and rinse and repeat last year without Bianca, or you give it to Rhea and then you have Io. I guess maybe you do that, but the story is in Rhea chasing the title, in my opinion. But I'm really glad that they're going to be singles competitors from what it looks like. I think Julia um, really got hampered from Stephanie Vicaire. We'll see what they can do. Now Kiana James is having her moment to shine in things like the Elimination Chamber, maybe for the wrong reasons, but her name is out there on major sites because of what had happened. And again, accidents, sometimes you get happy accidents, not in the creepy way, of course, but in a way that gets your name out there and getting that no publicity is bad publicity stuff. I saw that like a NFL memes was talking about the wardrobe malfunction. So it's she's almost getting more publicity now than Julia, and Stephanie Vicaire coming in really hurt Julia because I was kind of hyped on Julia based on what I had heard, and then she comes in, and then Stephanie comes in and completely overshadows her in every way, shape, and form. And at least Stephanie's working on her English. Now you don't have to speak English per se, but you are trying to get points across to primarily English speaking audience. So that is something that if that's you can develop that skill, they'll be better for it. But we've got a lot to go. Well, obviously, we're getting Finn versus Dom, which is something that I asked for. I would have liked for it to have been for the championship, but I think there's more of a story to be told between Finn and Dom without the title. Personally, I think their hatred, and again, hatred fuels a lot of the best
Hmm.
wrestling storylines. I think their hatred for each other is doesn't need the title. I think the same thing about Randy and Cody. I said that on my a few episodes ago when my WrestleMania Dream matches. It doesn't even need the title. It doesn't. It's Randy and Cody, especially if there's a heel turn from either one. But hopefully, Cody won't hold my breath. But we're going to have 6 or 7 matches per night on WrestleMania, and we got to start seeing now. Obviously, I would expect the
Hopefully.
Intercontinental Champion and Penta to have a match. I expect the basically all the titles to be defended. I think that writes itself, but we'll have to see where they go with that. And at the end of the day, I mean, they're talking about AJ Lee. She's going to be defending the title before Mania. Will she lose it? Will she get it back? Will this just lead to her versus Becky? And like you said, Becky would win that match at Mania because AJ Lee will be gone. I really wish I listened to you on the predictions video when I was putting in my predictions because I had watched it so early in the week and then I was putting my predictions in and I completely forgot about the brilliant point that you had made about AJ and Punk posing together, which they did, and the brilliant point that you made about she's probably not going to be around after WrestleMania. So give her the title now. And I suffered in the predictions league for that. So that's on me. But that was an astute observation and an astute analysis that you had predicted. And I really wish I would have listened to you, buddy. But at the end of the day, WrestleMania 45 days away. WWE usually goes full gear, no cross promotional and pun intended there. They usually go pedal to the metal with this and with WrestleMania season. We're going to get more Brock, and I think we're going to get a Brock versus Seth because there's no way Brock's just going to be okay with what had happened with Seth stomping him, even though Seth's storyline is with the Vision. But to me, it should be Brock versus Oba, and Oba should beat him clean, and Brock should turn face officially and start working towards the SummerSlam with Gunther.
With
Maybe
Gunther.
have Brock come out and destroy a bunch of people. Like Honestly, though, like there's a lot that they could do. There's a great roster of talent, a lot of wrestlers, male and female, that I would love to see in storyline matches. I'm somebody who is a fan of multi-person matches as far as when it comes to getting multiple people on the card. Obviously, I think you could argue matches are ultimately better and stories are ultimately better when it's a one-on-one. But again, like I said last night, the two best matches last year were triple threats at WrestleMania. So, I mean, if Cena didn't purposely wrestle poorly to show the marks that they don't know what they want from wrestling, then I think that match could have stolen the show as it did at SummerSlam. But I digress. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, like I said, the groundhog has seen its shadow, and we get 6 more weeks of winter till WrestleMania. And I really hope that WWE can keep the pedal to the metal. And leaving Roman Reigns off of television, I don't think is the answer, but I think they think it's the answer. Leave us wanting more, but don't do it with this. We're gonna end the show in the middle of a brawl, or we're going to start the show in the middle of a brawl. Like there are ways to do that because I feel like there's a lot of filler in between these shows. And again, I don't want to make this about Monday Night Raw in particular, but having Gunther go 2 commercials with Dragon Lee, like that dude better win the Intercontinental Championship or the United States Championship by WrestleMania. Otherwise, why are we having Gunther going multiple commercial breaks, wrestling matches with guys like Frazier, like Axiom, like Dragon Lee? These are guys that people should be squashing. No disrespect to them. Everybody's got their job and their paycheck and their responsibility. But yeah, man, I am looking forward to WrestleMania. But I think that Backlash is already being set up to be a great show. So I look forward to being there with you. We got our tickets to CVV Live. So hopefully we got a nice guest and it's not somebody like Jimmy Hart. No disrespect to Jimmy Hart, but like I would love even like a Big Show, a Jericho, a Miz. We you know I already had Miz, but I'm trying to think of the wrestlers who live in the area now. You know, another R-Truth, maybe even I don't know something. But either way, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. And thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any final thoughts, Dave, before we do our plugs?
Well, final thought is, and I'll just touch on it really, really quick, is I hope Breaker's back because I think it's an outside possibility, and then he'd face Rollins, and maybe we'd still get Brock and Oba possibly because that's how it really should be. That would make it good. But I'm with you. Hopefully they keep up the trend. We see a great show. Backlash. I think we're going to see Alexa and Charlotte. Hopefully, because I think that may be the breaking point for them. And I'll say I could see I'll be able to say I saw Rick in person and then I saw Charlotte. So because I saw Rick years and years ago. But um, thank you, Gino, for having me. I've had a great time, and you know me, I love talking wrestling with my buddies, and this has been it's been great meeting you, and now getting to go to Backlash and see my first live premium event. And
That's right.
the
It's
night
your
before
first
will be
premium live
fire, and we'll
event,
have a great
dude.
time.
That's really
Hmm.
exciting. I forgot. I, on the contrast of that, have been to pay-per-views when they were pay-per-views. I've been to premium live events. Oh, have I been to some? Yeah, Royal Rumble. So I've been to a bunch of events. I've had the fortunate circumstances to be able to attend these events. A lot of them when they come to Tampa, and Tampa's that wrestling hub. So I look forward to meeting you in person. We're going to be doing many more of these videos before Backlash chat. So stay tuned. Go check Dave and I out on the No DQ review. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Let us know your thoughts, guys, because that's the most important thing. What you guys think. Do you think it's too far? Should they have condensed it? I know they got to book these things, months and years in advance, but you'd think you'd have a little bit more foresight with the schedule. Maybe they'll throw in a Saturday night's main event in there. Who knows that, probably if to go run concurrent with AEW's premium live event or pay-per-view. But we'll see what happens. What do you think, guys? Do you think that Raw was good? Do you think SmackDown will be good? Do you think that There's too much time, too little time. Who knows? Is it just right? Is it Goldilocks? Is it just right? Who knows? You guys know. Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to us. From Dave to me, this has been Major Push Wrestling. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.